Hello and welcome to EVs and Beyond. I'm Richard Edwards. Now, if you've been following our site lately, you would have seen a big yellow ad splashed across the website. We are giving away a truck, and today I'm going for a little bit of a drive in this truck. Now, I still can't tell you what it is, so we're going to have to work around showing you any badges. Now, this one you can still drive on a car license, which is lucky because I don't have a heavy transport license, but it is big. It's a 6-ton truck. As you can see, a giant battery down there. This is not the kind of EV I'm used to driving, but it is pretty capable. Factory rated, nearly 300 k's of range. It's a 107 kilowatt hour battery. They reckon in New Zealand a range loaded of about 200 kilometers. Yeah, I'm going to talk about a little bit more about the spec of what this thing can do as we go. But I figure, you know, this is me. I've got this thing for a little bit of time to play with. What am I going to do? Of course, I'm going to go for a slightly extended drive, as I do. Now, while this truck would normally hang on steer, I'm going to drive it up to my home in Mangawhai. Everyone, you all know where I live, and the drive up there. It's about 120 kilometres from here, but I've actually got to go and pick up a little bit of a load, nothing that's going to tax this thing. Right, so let's talk a little bit about this truck. It's kind of a small to medium-sized truck. This is the baby, I guess, of the range. It comes in 3 wheel bases and up to 9-ton GVM. So kind of getting up into that mid-size truck space. It actually isn't that daunting. It's automatic. There's a really ordinary automatic shifter here. And you've got these huge mirrors either side, which just make it really easy to see where everything is. There's a reversing camera there as well, which is performance so far, and I've only been sitting and driving, getting off, on and off the motorway, has actually been interesting and surprisingly good. Now, I don't know a power rating for this, but it does have a lot of torques, and as Jeremy Clarkson taught us, it's all about the torques. There's 415 Newton meters of them, so it gets away from the lights pretty quick. So much so that I've just left it in eco mode because I don't need all the performance this truck's going to offer. Now, that is well empty, and so with a load on board, I'm sure there'll be some impact, but with that kind of torque level, hopefully not too much. Why would you want to go electric with a truck? Well, if anyone spent time in traffic in Auckland, you just know around the motorways and in the cities, the smog, the air, it can be a bit iffy. And if we can replace these trucks, particularly small delivery trucks that are on the road so often with electric ones, just think of all those nasties that aren't in the air that us and our children, there's schools alongside the motorway here, they're not breathing that. So such a great thing to do that can make a real difference to air quality. Right, so that was quite a narrow driveway, but we are loaded up now, hopefully. And yeah, the cool box tray that's on this is pretty handy. And now we are going to fire up, well, not really fire, is it fire up when you're driving an electric vehicle? This beast, and we are going to head north. So how far we will get without charging, I don't know. We're still at 92%. We've been idling around Auckland traffic for about 45 minutes. And yeah, hopefully top up on the way and show how this thing can DC fast charge. Let's go. Right, so we are at our charging stop, but we don't really need to charge because we're still at 76% when we stopped here. So we've actually got plenty, but I just wanted to see how it would charge. And the answer to that is pretty good. I think the key thing here, and I'll pull up on the screen, is that we arrived, 76%, and it is maxing out this Tritium 75 kilowatt unit straight to 75 or 75.1 kilowatt hours, and we're sitting now at 81, and it's still sitting there. So that is super handy. So what's the point of charging if we're nearly full? Well, the fact that the charger is still charging so high at this percentage means that it's worth stopping. But the other factor I'm just thinking here is that, sure, if I was out working and I stopped to get lunch and I had only 25, I still had only used 25%, maybe it's still worth charging because you just top up as you go. People don't drive generally all day, even in a truck. When you're loading, when you're doing all sorts of other stuff, there's the potential there to charge. In this case, I'm going to go and have a coffee and then unplug this and head back on the road, heading up home to Mangawhai. So let's talk about what it's like on the highway. And it's actually nicer than around town a little bit. I mean, this thing's home is really in town, but the bumpier roads in town when it's unladen are certainly noticed. Now, it's not exactly smooth out here on the Northern Motorway, but we are progressing quite comfortably. And I've found before when I've driven, larger diesels, particularly the more commercial ones, they can be quite droney at higher speeds. This one here there's no motor noise. We're getting a lot of wind noise. I think we are pushing into a headwind, but it's otherwise really quiet. It's I imagine it's going to be a far nicer work environment out there. The steering, again, a little bit vague, but fine, keeps going straight ahead. And the brakes, I've actually been quite impressed with the brakes. They feel quite nice for a vehicle. There is regen. It's a pretty darn good thing. Now, let's talk safety, because that is important to fleet buyers. Now, the one we have here has front airbags, ABS, a few other things. This is the pre-production one. The actual production one, when it gets delivered to customers and to our winner, will have things like autonomous emergency braking and a few other nice things as well. And that's really important to know that those features are being included. Now, how are we finding range so far? So I did a little bit of a measurement at our last charge. I think we're looking at about a range in our situation today. So lightly laden and punching into a headwind and doing a lot of motorway work at about 270, 280 kilometers, which is pretty good. We said the Chinese rating on this is 300. The distributor here in New Zealand, again, who we're not naming, has suggested that they think that a loaded Kiwi range, and I think they're probably focusing a bit more around town around that, is in the ballpark of 200 kilometers. And I think that's fair. I think if you were delivering goods where you wouldn't have too much weight, but perhaps a lot of bulk, which is, I think, pretty common for smaller trucks like this, then you could probably do Auckland to Hamilton return. But for most businesses, this is going to be great round town or on kind of short run operations. So appliance stores wanting a delivery vehicle, the service trucks, put a service body on the back and go and handle commercial work around the city. Or even, I think one thing it'll be really good for is traffic control services, because those are vehicles that tend to do a lot of idling, a lot of sitting around, and if you've got an electric vehicle, electric drivetrain, all that idling can be done just emissions free. So a really good option for a truck this size. Right, it's getting a little dark, but I have made it home here to Mangawhai in our truck. Now, I'm still not going to show you that badge on the front. You'll have to wait until the competition ends to do that. Now, so how do you enter? Go to winatruck.co.nz. Pretty catchy name, right? And it's going to ask you a few questions there, but basically you can just sign up for free and you go into the draw to win the use of a truck, not the specific one, but a production one, for 2 whole months for your business. Now, there is a bit of a caveat in that, and that we are going to tell a story about what it is that you have done with the truck. I will probably want to come and follow you around with a camera or something like that, and just check out what you're doing. But we really want to see some great usage of electric trucks out there, and there's been so many entries already of businesses that just have such great ideas as to what they can do with a vehicle like this. So thanks so much for watching. Don't forget winatruck.co.nz, and sometime I think next week all will be revealed as to what this is and who is going to be driving it for 2 months free of charge. Thanks so much.